may be good to skip. It was actually, we started, Mom and I came over basically because like we trusted you and your family and what, you know, the fact that they were instrumental in that. And then from that church, outreach created where it was called the Maranatha Cafe. It was like a coffee shop on the edge of Campbell University. So that Campbell University college students could come over and hang out in a Christian coffee environment. I don't know that Christian coffee tasted any different. And I actually don't remember there being much coffee, but it was like a hangout.
It was the idea of it.
And it was Benny Enzor's brainchild, who his sons Matt and John were like, we grew up with them. They were like good friends of ours from like kindergarten.
Yeah.
For me,
first grade.
And his vision was that it was a performance space. There was a stage in the back, and they had an open mic night, and so people from the college could play at the open mic night. You got the whole hippie vibe, the coffee shop vibe kind of coming.
And just the idea that there was a stage, there was an opportunity to get on that stage and perform for an audience. You know, we had just kind of, you know, dipped our toes into performing, doing simple things like just doing a class in speech or doing a video in front of the class and being the class clowns. And so the idea
or singing You Down with Halloween at the Fall Festival.
Fall Festival, talent show, that kind of thing. So this was already in our blood. And so when they were like, we're going to have this cafe, college students are going to show up.
Yeah.
We were like, well, of course, we got to start a band.
And I think just this is a theme that's going to be throughout all of these dots that we're connecting is whenever we see that there's an audience, we try to find a way to get in front of that audience.
Right.
So yeah, we were like, let's form a band. Can we play any instruments? No. Benny's son John was learning the bass.
I think he started it from a musical perspective.
Benny's son Matt was into like the soundboard.
Eric was learning the guitar. Me and you couldn't play anything.
Right.
And we didn't have a drummer.
And then Benny said, oh, y'all want to start a band? I'll help you out. He was multi-instrumentalist.
Right. Yes.
So he started playing keyboards in our band, which we called the Wax Paper Dogs. We called it the Wax Paper Dogs because the previous summer, it just so happened everybody that was in the band was in a whitewater raft that was going down some river at the end of a mission trip. You know, when you go on a church mission trip, at the end of the mission trip, you got to have some fun. We went whitewater rafting, and we called our raft the
Paper Dogs.
We were going to call them the Paper Dogs.
Yeah.
We said, well, if paper gets wet, it disintegrates. And this
we
is
were
a raft.
Right.
So we got to make it wax paper. So we called our group the Wax Paper Dogs. We were just a rafting
group.
Just so happened everybody who was in that boat, including Benny, the dad, was in this band. So we called the band the Wax Paper Dogs. And we started practicing. We spent so much time going to the Maranatha Cafe when it was closed, because Benny basically was the prior to the place and had the key. We'd go in there and just play and learn songs and practice. It became the thing that we were most passionate about.
Yeah, well, I would say that, you know, Benny is a huge... We're going to be basically pointing out a number of really instrumental people who kind of play these really, really pivotal roles in getting us to where we're at now. And I think Benny is one of the very first. Because not only was the Maranatha Cafe his idea, his brainchild, and he was the one who put all the work into it, but we would have never had a band without him. I would have never learned to play the guitar without him. We would have never understood songwriting without him. And so many of the things that became sort of the foundational elements of our career, even when we got a YouTube, we were doing most of the music, it all started with Benny's vision and his influence.
It was weird because he's an old dude, but like in our eyes, he wasn't that old at the time, but he was a dad. And you know, what cool kids who want to like shoegaze and guitar playing, like grunge was just about to happen.
Right.
And it started to happen. It was like, how can we be like that if we got a dad in our band? But like, he was all for it, and you know, we were all for
Well,
it.
he was also the coolest dad.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't a typical dad. He had a Fu Manchu.
I think, you know, we were so into it that it started to threaten your passion for basketball.
I would say that that being involved in the band and then sort of, you know, drinking our own Kool-Aid and believing that we could be rock stars was one of the main reasons I ended up going to state and not pursuing a college basketball career, which would have not been a state, by the way, would have been in a small school. But yeah, that was one of the, I was like, I kind of just tired of basketball. We're going to be rock stars. You know, and we wanted to be close. So we're going to go to state because in Raleigh we can continue being a part of the band.
In order to start the band and play at the Maranatha Cafe, it had to be a Christian band. Now, did we really want to be in a Christian band, even though we were like all in Christians? I'd say the answer is no. I'd say we never listened to Christian music. We were very self-aware. We've always been very self-aware, but we had this. We felt like
We thought Christian music sucked.
it was second rate.
Like,
You know, I don't listen to. I mean, I don't listen to. I listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Christian music
And
seemed
I
like
was told that I shouldn't listen to them because it was sexualized.
but Christian music seemed like sort of a bad imitation of good secular music. And so we were just like, wow, no. And so we were a little bit hesitant to call ourselves Christian music, but it was very much Christian music.
Oh,
Let me tell you how
it
Christian
had
it was.
to be in order to get on that stage.
Every single song had a Christian message, and then we would close many of our concerts with doing something called an invitation, which is where you invite people who are at your concert to make a decision to invite Jesus into their hearts, to become Christians at the end of the concert, and you get everybody to pray. This would happen in a Wax Paper Dogs concert.
And a lot of times it would be up to me because I was the lead singer, and like, imagine me and like the circuitous way that I communicate and take the long way around everything, and like
You led a lot of people astray.
when I give a speech,
Your analogies were choice.
whenever I give a speech, I'm hanging on by a thread. And I can only imagine how everybody felt. Now, I mean, while we're on the topic of like the embarrassing aspects of this, I remember the first song that we tried to write before we asked Benny to officially help us. We were at Eric Withers' house. Organic Soup. I actually still have the lyrics that we wrote because I wrote them on a paper plate, a white paper plate that was like in Eric's bonus room. It was soup, organic soup.
Creation is the story of our God's amazing glory.
Creation tells the truth that leaves all men without excuse. To explain is what they try. Creation tells the truth that leaves all men without excuse. God's existence they deny. To explain is what they try. Will they ever? Why can't they just believe? And it was a song against the evolution.
Yeah.
It was a creation. That was the first thing we chose to write a song
Yeah,
about.
and
It was horrible. In our defense,
we never performed it.
for
We never
anybody.
performed it because we realized how it wasn't just we weren't embarrassed about the message. The song was bad. Like Benny listened to that song, he was like, I've got some songs that I wrote in the '70s, yes, that y'all can play, and why don't we do some covers? Because the first guy was like, why don't we just do like I Can See Clearly Now the Rain Is Gone? Like, let's sing let's sing Country Road, Change West Virginia, North Carolina. How about that? And that was we were like, oh, this is how a song is structured. And then a few months later, we started writing our own songs. We're going to have to move at a faster pace. We're spending a lot of time on Wax Paper Dogs. There's a lot of elements to this story.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be a 7-hour podcast.
Yeah.
But, so that's the frame of mind that we're in. The band, we got better musically. We started having this weird sort of like sort of a 311 pop punk kind of. It was great.
We would play at Christian festivals, and even into as we graduated high school, into our freshman year in college, we still had gigs with the band. We go back home, and we play those gigs. By our sophomore year,
Well,
we had broken up.
and there's a reason for that. So we go to NC State. Now my brother had been involved with a campus ministry called Campus Crusade for Christ while he was at UNC. And he was actually going into his senior year, and we were going into our freshman year. And he had been really involved with them and had gone on trips with them and was in Bible studies. And this was a huge part of his life when he was in college. And it was a very fruitful experience. It kind of like, it was really, again, it was the most important part of his college experience.
We visited him in a few different places, and we kind of got a glimpse of how cool
it was really cool, exciting to see a group of people who were older than you, college students, who were like passionately engaged with something that was bigger than themselves. That was inspirational. And it was like, oh, people aren't just going off, you know, partying on the weekends. They're going, getting together and trying to change their lives and change other people's lives. This seems meaningful. This seems good. So we were like, we're going to be involved in Campus Crusade for Christ when we get to NC State.
Now, Campus Crusade for Christ, as an organization, has been around since 1951. It was a global organization. It still is. It's now called Cruise, because I think the association with the Crusade
There are some negative connotations historically.
But for us, freshman year at NC State, we knew that first week we were going to go to the meeting, the weekly meeting.
Yeah. And we go to the weekly meeting. About 100, 150 students gather into this packed classroom. And a guy gets up there. Actually, he wasn't even up there yet. And the video starts playing at the very beginning of this thing. And it's like a comedic video of a guy trying to get to the meeting. Yeah, and it was just blowing our minds. We were like,
ridiculous.
This is so awesome. This is so funny. And then all of a sudden,
He was on the roof, and then he jumped off the roof, but then they threw a mannequin off the roof.
the mannequin hits the parking lot.
And then they jump cut to he's not a mannequin anymore, and he's wrestling with an inflatable alligator.
This is 1996. You got to understand how impressive these video skills were.
And so he went through this series of obstacles.
Yeah.
And then you see the front of the building, and you see him finally running in the same door that we just walked in and sat down.
He's got the same clothes on that he had in the videos,
and then
as if he just came out of the video.
he comes in the room, and he's the MC of the meeting.
And his name was Garrett. I don't remember his last name, but he was so funny. He had the crowd just by a string, or whatever the saying that I'm looking for is right there. He was, again, I want to understand, it wasn't that we didn't think that the whole spiritual Christian aspect of what was going on there was important, but we did not expect there to be this guy who basically came up there and was like David Letterman all of a sudden with a group of 100 kids. And
Over the next few weeks, they would do different things. Like Garrett and another guy would sit down behind a table, and they would do announcements, and they would do them like Saturday Night Live, the Weekend Update, which we grew up worshiping Weekend Update.
And let me explain. It wasn't just that was what the meeting was. The meeting was also what we call praise and worship music, where somebody would get up there with a guitar, and Christian music, everybody would sing together passionately. Then there would be some announcements. Then there would be a speaker, usually like a local pastor or somebody else who worked on the staff of Campus Crusade for Christ, who would get up there and do essentially a talk slash sermon that was inspirational, and then you sing some more music and you go home. And it was the best part of our week by a long shot. Now I specifically remember thinking the very first time, I want to do that. All I was thinking was, I want to be that guy. I want to do this. Now, we got involved. We got to know a guy named Mark Valentine, who's still a good friend, who was a Bible study leader. He was on staff at Campus Crusade. So
He worked, and by staff, he worked full-time. His full-time job was on campus working with students, leading Bible studies, of which we eventually joined his weekly Bible study.
Yeah, and we loved Mark, and still do. And he was cool, laid back, funny, super relatable to us and our experience.
Yeah.
And he was also, at the time, in charge of the weekly meeting. Or at least had an idea. I don't know if he was, at some point Todd became in charge of it, but I think Mark was maybe exclusively in charge at that point. Anyway, Mark was the guy to talk to if you wanted to meet him.
Those what do you want off the dresser? Right.
You were going to be off balance.
What's that? Dungeon Craft. I'm trying to let do it.
Mom? Dad?
Yep.
It's up to the... Oh, well, does that happen? Because at first it was like right below the wooden part of it. Yeah. Has it ever happened to you?
Here, Lee, grab the bag.
I mean, I swear that it was.
Baby, it does fog up. It's not like it don't never happen.
Well, here we put your eyebrow on it. Oh, your hair. Might have to go in there and poop again. What happened?
Well, I can safely say that we did not contact any vehicles.
Yeah, of course not.
We just didn't. I mean, we were trying like crazy to, but I was not able to make contact with any passing vehicles.
When we got in the stairwell, we noticed something very inviting.
It wasn't two 14-year-old boys, but when they saw that, they got up here and we
Stick with my foot.
that was your foot?
It's my hand.
There's a lock, dude. There was no lock in 92. There was no lock up here. You're kind of stepping directly on my foot.
It's in the way.
Just step on a different rung, man. Oh, you gotta put some pressure on a different foot. What the heck, man? Why you gotta be up here with me?
I'm gonna take full credit for that lock being on there.
Yes. One of the big themes of the book is discipline, right? And we kind of play around with that. Like discipline taken to a very sort of scary extreme. But one of the things, the way that the dynamic worked between us is that your mom would punish you according to what my parents were doing to me. The whole idea in the book that we explore with Rex and Lee receiving the same punishment, which was initiated from Rex's parents and then sort of handed out to both Rex and Lee. That was something that was very much a reality in our lives.
You got grounded for a week, which meant I got grounded for a week.
But you didn't really end up. What did that mean? Like, what was being grounded? Like, what were you kept from?
Hanging out with you on rooftops throwing rocks at
Yeah,
us.
wasn't much of a punishment. Buies Creek mascot used to be the Buies Creek Demon, but I have on good authority that they have changed it to something else. Let's see if I can see what the mascot is. Oh, there it is. It's some sort of Trojan. It's some sort of warrior.
A knight, maybe?
The Knights. They're Buies Creek Knights?
Not bad.
Okay.
I think it's just a demon with a mask.
You take that mask off and definitely there's a demon. Now it takes place in community.
You guys should go. We're on our way out.
That's like dandelion wine.
Really?
What was it, tart?
Good?
Nasty?
Good?
All pretty strippy?
Good?
Yeah, it was good.
I know. What's this big? On TV and
all the way downstairs to speak. Alright, Bradley, whenever you need to use the bathroom, don't you worry about asking me.
control because you knew more information than him.
Yes, that was exactly how we got that to happen. I walked outside of my door to meet this person who I thought was my friend. In that moment, this little boy spoke. And by that, not but my intuition spoke up. And it said, Alicia, turn around and don't fall down. And for whatever reason, I heard it that time, I listened to it, and I went to turn around, and then I heard my name being called. And the next thing I knew, I was in the car.
What are you playing?
And this man was holding my hand so tightly that I was broken, and he was barking commands at me to be good, be quiet, trying to speak out for you. And he drove 5 hours from Pittsburgh.
I'm literally playing, what's it called? I'm literally playing, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Riley.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Landon and on PC now have been for 3 months.
You bought a PC? Why? Yeah, I hate to have no speed. What do you play on PC? Do you play like Fortnite, Rainbow? Thank you.
Fortnite. I have Rainbow.
Have you won any money off of Fortnite yet, though? Yeah, I literally just choked that so hard. Oh my. Still got first place though, and I don't get any money because I've already won this like 100 times. Let's see if I can get like a super high combo real quick.
Only played in 1 tournament.
Oh, what even just happened? Oh my god. I'm literally choking after I get that. I need to get back over here. See if I can get it over here. Dang it. Okay, well, let me just do this really quickly. Let me go sweat mode really quick. Dude, sicko mode. Oh my god.
My PC was 1500.
1,500? Why? Where'd you even get it from? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Bought the parts, then build it.
I'm doing terrible. How, wait, so, Have you even tried to play any other games on PC? Dang it. Oh, that was terrible. That one was absolutely god-awful. Nah, but honestly, I love this game. I'm addicted to it right now. I have like game option, sound option, game.
I have like
apps.
every game that's big.
I mean, this game's pretty big, and you don't have it. You have to been. I hope you've been playing Among Us. It's like Among Us is the best game ever. I've been addicted to it, and I can't even play it. I literally got it on my phone, but it's just so much worse. Like, all you have to do is say it's red, and they'll all believe you.
Among Us is fun.
Yeah, but not on your phone. It's terrible. Dang it, I choked. I didn't think I was actually gonna get that. Dang. Yes, sir, bro. Oh my god. No, dude, I just choked that so hard.
You know you can play in Discord calls on your phone and not in public games.
Oh yeah, I know, but like the thing, like the Discord's full.
I have friends that play it if you want to add me on Discord.
You're gonna add me on Discord. I think I already have you on Discord. Actually, though, let me see how many hours I have in this game. I should have like 22 hours.
3039.
3039, I think you said. Create a park profile. Let me see how many hours I put into the game. Oh,
No,
okay.
you don't.
Highest score, fastest. Time played 19 hours. I thought I had like 20 some hours, honestly. You sure? Do I have your old Discord then? Because I know I have somebody. Failed to, your message could not be delivered because you don't share a server with her 7
Yes.
3039. No, I have your thing. Mutual friend. I just sent you a friend request. 3-0 box fight. Total grind time 3000. Yeah, this is my stuff. Pretty cool, dude. Number of flip tricks 13,000. Number of lip tricks. I hate lip tricks, honestly. Total lip trick time. Number of grinds. I like a grind. Yeah. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 6, 47, 8, 49. Sure, it may be a bit dusty and grimy, but hey, it's home. Warehouse. Okay. Dang, I just...
I invited you to a call, Joy.
Alright, give me a second. need to practice on warehouse a lot more, dude. No, I choked. Yeah, my highest on this is like 1 million? Let me check. Quit. Accept. Yeah, 41, 42. For this one, I have 1.8 million, dude. And my highest combo is that. And then let's see, for this one, that's boring run. I got 243,000. This one's a lot harder though.
Pennsylvania to his house in Virginia.
Before we learn more about the world of kidnapping survivors,
Then he turned on the light, and blanketing the walls were all these torture devices.
If she didn't want to do the mission, then I would her, and then I would myself.
And he forced me to look at him, and he said, "This is going to be really hard for you. It's okay to cry."
I just wanted to take a quick moment to once again thank all of you so much from
In the basement was a padlock.
experiencing the traumas discussed.
I remember the sound of the car stopping, him dragging me in this house, pulling me up and yeah! At the bottom of the stairs was a big door, in the basement was a padlock on it. He unlocked that padlock, pushed me inside, followed me behind, and this room was pitch black, see absolutely nothing. And picked me up like I weighed absolutely nothing, and propped me on this table.
Zeus is on the call as well.
Does he have PC?
You're not about to drive without insurance. That's like getting a tattoo I got cold.
Oh, you're racing?
It's a tattoo.
The general has a portable maze even with less than perfect grip. Oh, the general has arrived.
I think I might actually beat my high score.
Really hard and then he turned on the lights and blanketing the walls were all these torture devices, and the media deemed this to be a dungeon, and that's
Shee. I'm honestly getting super good on this map, so I've just been practicing like for 2 days now. Dang, dude, imagine Cherry Cake. Let me try some different stuff. No! Imagine. Oh, dude. Okay.
that's actually a very aperture. This was a dungeon, this was solid. After that, the locked dog collar around my neck, another padlock, and first side. Over the next 4 days, I ended forged in that basement. People often ask me, did you think he was going to kill you? And it wasn't a question of if, it was when. I knew that he didn't have another choice. he had to get rid of me eventually.
Can you remember the fear that you experienced throughout all that, or was it painful, something that you kind of pushed away to not have to think about how to experience that again?
I absolutely remember getting there. I remember that absolute, total, utter fear and helplessness. I thought about my family, and I knew that they were listening to me, they loved me, and that I knew that they were going to find me, but I didn't think that they were going to find me alive. And I remember feeling so helpless in that moment, and I still get really emotional about this, that I couldn't comfort them.
Were you almost feeling guilty for not being able to let them know?
Pure helplessness, that I wanted them to know that I was okay, and that I loved them so much, that I couldn't tell them that, and I probably never going to tell them that. I wanted to answer those questions before that it was really impossible moment.
How were you eventually able to escape and become free?
Off we continued deeper, getting deeper. All I remember was the door got knocked down and people speaking Spanish came in and grabbed him and grabbed me and put us in this little car. By the time that they took us to this Mexican police station and they put him somewhere in a holding cell, and they put me in a little room, a little small, maybe 6 by 8 foot room. All of a sudden a police officer, a guard of some kind came and got me out of the room and took me down to where he was being held in this very dark, seemed like it was down like in a basement or something, but a cell, and through the bars of the cell, he was allowed to talk to me, and he said, I've been visited by the aliens, Zeta and Zethra, the aliens. They've come to me here in the cell, and they've said that we can't talk about 3 things, and if we do, we'll be vaporized.
Oh boy.
We can't talk about them, that they exist.
Right.
We can't talk about...
Go on, mix it up a little. Get 2 medium 2-topping pizzas from Domino's for $5.99 each.
Let's play Raid Shadow Legends. Start now for free.
Any of the mission, because I'm supposed to get pregnant and have a baby to save a dying planet. And the third thing is that we couldn't talk about any of the relaxing pills that he would give me.
So at that point, you still didn't know you were being kidnapped, even when you were rescued?
Oh no, I thought I had been taken by this UFO because I had a mission to perform, and it was with him. He needs to see me as a person, because right now he sees me as an object. If he sees me as that person, then it will be harder for him to kill me. So that was my way of having power. That was my way of fighting. On the last day, which I didn't know was the last day, he said, I'm beginning to like you too much. Tonight we're going to go for a ride. And at that point I realized that this game that I was sort of playing was working only too well. He had become attached, and he was going to have to kill me sooner. Every single moment really, really, really mattered, because if I could get to the next moment, then maybe I could get to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. Time passed, and I'd completely given up hope at this point. I'd become sort of resigned to what was about to happen to me. And I was brought back to awareness by these angry voices, these people, something about them. And in my oriented state, I realized, or thought, that these are the people who were coming to see. So I literally said, I was being ignored by the boss. So I grabbed that chain and I tried to hide. And I stayed as quiet as possible, and I heard somebody say, movement, over there. And I watched these big groups walk from one side of the bed to the other side of the bed, and they were there, and I crawled out, hands up, and I remember crawling out from underneath that bed, dragging the whole machine behind me, trying to put my hands up and cover myself, and staring into the ground with a gun. And I thought, this is the moment, this is it, that moment, but I'm going to die. And then he turned around, and I saw the law enforcement by what was written on the back of his jacket. And all these officers rushed in, had that chasing around my neck, set me free, and gave me a second chance at life. To go from that completely broken, hopeless place to rescue is a shock. He was somebody who enjoyed hurting people. He was a sadist. And so he had actually live streamed what he was doing to me to other people. And somebody who was viewing this video was able to recognize me as the little girl on the missing poster and relate that to the little girl in this horrible, horrendous video. And he ran out and called law enforcement, and they were able to track him down through his IP address because of one of his screenings that he was using. And it was an absolute, complete, total miracle. Something that I say a lot, and Survivors say this a lot, is I am so lucky.
How long were you held captive?
I was held captive for 4 days, and he was going to kill me on the day that I was rescued. And that has been such an interesting point over the years, because people ask me that, and I swear to goodness, so often their response is, 4 days? That's not that bad.
What? That's not a response.
Yes.
You don't say that to someone who's experienced the most traumatic thing in their life for 4 full
No, and
days.
it's so strange. It felt like, okay, am I supposed to be happy about that? Yes. Maybe it was a short time.
Why are we adding all of these other things to make it seem less bad or more bad? It was bad, and that's just the way it was.
Absolutely. It downplays it for people who are going through it.
The first time the kidnapping was, I was found 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks later in Mazatlan, Mexico, and then there was almost a 2-year period in between that time and the second kidnapping. The second time that I was kidnapped, I was missing for almost 4 months.
No!
2.5 years.
Yeah, that I was being, I mean, I was home for, I was brought back home,
Right.
but I wasn't home.
Right.
And I wasn't out because I was totally brainwashed the whole time. And now I'm turning 16, which was the magic number that I was supposed to have a child, save the dying planet, and that if I didn't, then of course horrible things would happen, my sister would be taken, and whatever. The summer that I was turning 16, I had decided that I would tell my little sister what was going to happen, and if she didn't want to do the mission, then I would kill her, and then I would kill myself. I had this thought. Now, before I kill myself, or Susan, I better make sure that this is real.
That was the first time you doubted it.
But because I had that doubt, I started to do very small things to test to see if anything bad would happen. I accepted an invitation to go to a school dance. I'd never accepted. I'd avoided boys this whole time. I'm turning 6. I was 16 by now, and I'd never been to a school dance. And I just remember going to bed and just going, this isn't real. Nothing's happened. And it was, you would think it would just be a feeling of relief, but it wasn't. It was a feeling of, where did I've lost 4 years of my life.
Every single emotion that had been bottled up for 4 years, for a quarter of your life at that point, all came out.
That's exactly right. I never thought of it that way, but there were a lot of emotions, and that's when I started to talk.
You didn't know you were being kidnapped ever until way after the actual events had even happened.
That's right.
Have you felt like you were able to get any kind of closure after you were kidnapped?
It may be a resolution. It may be an end to that particular segment, but it is not closure. And last year, he was released early. And I remember I screamed this blood-curdling scream, and I dropped my phone. And my husband ran into the room, and he said, "Oh, what's wrong?" Right? He's freaking out. And I just picked up the phone, and I handed it to him, and he read what happened. And he said, "I gotta call your mom." And he called her, and then I heard her do that same scream, and it made me think about, is that the scream that she did that night that I was missing? That she couldn't find me, and that she felt that sort of terror and pain again.
You relived it. It's not something in the past. It's still in your head, like it's currently happening.
It hurts, and you recognize it, but you keep on with your day. It doesn't completely take you down. That you're able to have those healthy coping mechanisms to get back up and keep going. It's okay if it knocks you down, but that you get back up again.
So that's really the process of moving on. It's not getting closure. It's not having it be something that's just in the past. It's being able to allow yourself to feel those feelings when you feel them, but then to move on with your day?
That you recognize it, that you don't bury it, that you don't hide it, because it will pile up, and then it's here, and then you have a bit of a breakdown, and people don't understand why watching a movie or doing this or doing that hurt you so much, but it's because it's been building up, and you haven't hoped.
Do you feel the person who kidnapped you received a fair punishment?
Oh, no, not at all. He only spent 19 days in jail.
For all of this? 19 days?
19 days. That was the sum total of his jail time. He spent time in a mental hospital, but he got released from that early as well, because of course he manipulated all of those doctors and people, but he was now healed and fine, and he was great.
Absolutely not. But because this was Deeper's case, people couldn't understand it. He actually did a plea bargain and was able to plea out of many of the charges, and it brought it down to nearly nothing. It was 19 years and 7 months, and to be perfectly honest, when I was a teenager, I was like, oh my gosh, 19 years, I'm gonna be an old woman. I'm gonna be old. And it seemed really far away. And it's not.
After the second kidnapping, he's best friends with this little girl's mom, who was a single mom, a psychiatric nurse. He's been her daughter under her house from age 10 until she's 17. And at age 18, she tells the friend in school she's going to kill herself. And the friend calls the mom, and the mom basically drags it out of her daughter. What are you talking about? You're going to kill yourself? What mission are you talking about? You failed? 7 other little girls, who are now women, who were abused by the same man. He's one of the 7 that I know that had those brainwashing tapes. They did take it to court. He was convicted for the child, then went and spent less than a year in jail.
19 days for you, less than a year for another almost identical story. And because of that lack of proper punishment, it just happened again and again and again.
If you don't cut off access by putting this person in jail, or that they have to live out their life in a facility or whatever, then most likely they will perpetrate again.
And I do believe that he will go on to offend again. And that there's so much that I can do about that I have to sort of take my hand off of that and let the system do with it. And it's very difficult, especially because they released him early and made this colossal mistake in many ways. I actually faced him again in court. I went and I gave a testimony, and it was, I say it's one of the hardest things that I've done, and it was walking into that room. But when I was in that room, I felt empowered. He's back in prison, and he is going to finish his sentence and going to be released on my birthday next year. So, and then that is something that I will have to deal with in the future. That this is real. That my birthday will come along, and it's strange because when you have something that is traumatic that you're not looking forward to, but you have something positive, you're like wishing for this positive thing. At the same time, this negative thing is right there, and it's going to make this other thing kind of suck. That's going to be a pretty hard day, and I will figure it out. I will get through it. I'm hoping that I'm on a stage somewhere speaking to a group of somebody so that I can make it better.
How has your day-to-day life changed since being kidnapped?
I was 13. If I ask you, how has your life changed since you were 13?
Yeah, everything?
Yeah, I mean everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a bedtime.
Right. How does it feel knowing that your story has impacted so many people? There's so many laws that have changed, and you saved potentially hundreds, thousands of lives. There's really no number. You can't really know how much of an impact it made. I know for me specifically, my parents even referenced your story. They mentioned it to me, and it made me more aware of the dangers of the internet.
It's so amazing to know that the work that I've done actually counts for something. That it's not just me speaking into an empty room hoping somebody listens, but that it's not only being heard, it's being listened to, and it's being applied.
What do you think should be done to prevent others from going through the experience that you had?
We teach children to wear their seatbelt, to look both ways before they cross the street, to not touch that pot because it's hot.
Right.
But when it comes to online safety or sexual abuse, it becomes a very uncomfortable conversation. And it is an uncomfortable conversation, but that doesn't mean that you don't have it. That means that it is absolutely necessary to have, because this sort of crime thrives in darkness and secrecy. So we need to shine a light on it and empower children. It's not about making them afraid of the world. It's about empowering them to make good decisions.
You have to be paying attention, first of all, so that you notice, you know, not just normal teenage angst, but you notice things when something is amiss. You have to be on the front lines of defending those children, because they're not going to talk. They're not going to tell you. The manipulators are adults.
Do you think it's important to have conversations with children frequently and let them know that this is something that you can talk about, it's something that's happening?
Climate and world, and with the kids having a cell phone, they're already on the internet. They already know so much that, you know, that I don't know if they should or they shouldn't. It doesn't matter. They just do. You better be talking. You better be talking, and you better be able to honestly carry a conversation on. I had a 22-year-old come up to me after a speech that I gave at a university, and she said, I didn't know that I wasn't the only special one that Grandpa had. I didn't know until a cousin, after Grandpa had died, said something about how he missed Grandpa, and another one of my girl cousins said, oh, I don't miss being Grandpa's special one. And she said, I looked at her and I said, what did you say? She said, oh, nothing. Grandpa was the special one. And she said, no, Grandpa told me I was the special one. And then they start talking, and what that meant was Grandpa's going to get in bed and going to see if you're his special one, right? And they find out there's 6 girls, cousins, that have all been Grandpa's special one from, you know, until they hit about age 16 or 17, and then it stopped, and then they move on to the next one.
It's so disheartening to know how frequent this happens.
And this girl...
Tourette syndrome, or Tourette, is a neurological disorder characterized by involuntary, unusual movements and impulsive vocalizations. The first record of Tourette syndrome is often credited to the 15th century book, Malleus Maleficarum, which describes a priest who takes at a time were believed to be the result of possession by the devil. Today, there are an estimated 200,000 Americans alone who have the most severe form of Tourette's, and as many as 1% of the entire population exhibit mild symptoms that are less visible. My name's Anthony Padilla. People with Tourette syndrome learn the truth about this highly misunderstood disorder. Do individuals with Tourette's proudly embrace their disorder, allowing themselves to celebrate their unique differences? Or do their unavoidable sudden tics cause them to live in constant stress, never able to relax or find a moment of peace in their own bodies? Hello, Tourette syndrome. Yes. We'll see. So what do you consider yourself? Someone with Tourette's, or Tourette syndrome? Twin distracted Tourette's. Yes, I call them tics. Yeah. Little twitches, verbal tics. I have where it's like, touch my jaw. I was a camp counselor. I was 16 years old, and I had like this uncomfortable, like, it was just this wrist rotation. I have this new one that my body kind of goes like that. It looks like I'm about to pop the lock. Oh, yeah? It's like this, and it's weird on stage. I have to like explain it. Can you describe what having a tic feels like for anyone watching who just has no idea really what that is like?
So if you've ever been really sick and you feel that urge to cough, you feel the slow like rise that you really need to cough, and you can kind of suppress it for a little bit, but the more you suppress it, the more uncomfortable it becomes, and it builds up, and so you really have to cough, and then it just full-blown cough attack.
And maybe every once in a while you'll get by where you goes away, but for the most part, it's like explosive.
Most part, yeah. I mean, if you have certain things that you do, like if you play sports or you play an instrument, sometimes it goes away during those times for most cases, but other than that, it's very hard to say.
Is there anything that makes Tourette syndrome?
It's
remembers eternally.
No worries. Do you feel like you need to apologize usually whenever you have certain things?
Such a reflex. Like even if I get clarification that I don't need to apologize, I still end up doing it. And there's a certain element of instinctive where I know it's okay, but I still feel remorse for being inappropriate. I don't feel okay with being inappropriate, and it feels wrong not to convey that intent and for people to know that it's not something that you want to happen.
You've kind of been forced to be apologetic for being.
Any strong emotion can increase it. Having things to focus on really helps with Tourette syndrome. A lot of us can sing an entire song without having a single tick. For me, it's whistling, and I can try and manage it by whistling, and when I whistle tunes, I don't tick, and it also helps me focus on the center of the mind.
When did you first realize that you have Tourette syndrome?
I was 4 years old when I remember I was sitting on my parents' bed, and it was the craziest experience. I was by myself, I was just watching TV, and I felt like a ghost was like pulling my face. It was crazy because I've never experienced anything like that, and I didn't get pushed before or anything like that. It just felt like it was going like this, and then I couldn't stop doing it after I did it the first time. And it was this crazy sensation where I just kept doing it over and over again. I started crying. I was just really it felt like it was just out of my control. And so she just did a doctor, and they said,
was younger, people weren't as well read about it.
So when I was about 9 or 10 years old, I kept doing this and looking at the ceiling, and my parents were like, "Yeah, stop! Like, you should probably stop."
Right.
They thought it was a bad habit. Like, God bless them. Like, they didn't know.
Yeah.
But the older that I got, the more that was control. So I went to a neurologist. Said that he wasn't going to get.
Wait, so he didn't want to officially tell you you had Down syndrome because that would cause more of it.
Yeah, I was like, so you want me to just be like moving like this, and people are all like, "Why do not?"
What was your reaction to finding out that you were confirmed to have Tourette's?
I was overjoyed because I grew up being punished for my kids. And she shook my arm and it made a punch sound. Then we should go to the doctors just in case. And she was like telling me off the car, like, you make a oh god, then you OT and it's straight through it. And here's the people for the rest of the night. And I was terrified. Maybe this little card, and it had like smiley faces on it because I was a kid. And I pointed to that one because I looked at my stepmom and was like, oh, I'll get in trouble if I make a fuss. So they almost didn't x-ray me. It was like, nah, a kid would be screaming and would be putting a sad face. But they did it just in case, and they're like, your kid is a tank. So like, these are the situations I ended up in. And when I finally got a diagnosis, an explanation, I was like, no amount of therapy would have changed the way I behaved. It wasn't my fault. This is proof that it's involuntary. Because there were times where I was just like, so mad at myself. And I was like, why did I do this again? It was really liberating.
Do you proud of yourself before you have Tourette's?
I used to die about it, so I just kind of let it get there. Somebody else like that on their face and just tell them. That guy, and then I slowly became the person who I try to tell you as soon as I meet you that I have it, just so it's out of the way.
It all started when I was 13. I read my mom's book. Last day I was there for guys. I was 13. They were about 16, I think. And they beat me into unconsciousness. I went in the medical room.
Were those kids that bullied you specifically bullying you because you had Tourette's, or because you stood out?
Part of it was that I seemed like an antagonist. I would pitch the back of people's arms, or I'd say offensive things, insulting things. The worst part is that the more of a connection I have with someone, the closer the connection. So, unfortunately,